Hello, I'm Bob Ross. Beat the devil out of it.
Hello, and indeed welcome to a very belated episode of News from the Gelding. So it's been almost a month since my last episode, so I thought it was time to come back and have a little chat. Excuse the noise in the background, there's some construction going on and they won't stop to allow me to do this, which is an utter disgrace. But anyway, intro today was a bit of, if you know Bob Ross, this was the intro music to his long-running art series. Absolutely brilliant. So over in the UK, ever since the first lockdown, they've been playing The Joy of Painting. One episode every day, well, Monday to Thursday. And it's really a brilliant thing to have on at such dread times because, of course, Bob Ross, whilst being a very talented chap, is also a very relaxing presence, nice soothing voice, words of wisdom and all the rest of it. So I've been watching that all the time. Though we used to watch it back in the 90s. Really very entertaining. And I thought it'd be nice, fitting music to play because I'm going to be showing you some paintings that I've been working on. But aside from, before I show you my stuff, I just want to talk a little bit about Bob. So aside from whatever you think of his actual work, the work itself that he produced, you cannot deny the man was an inspiration, certainly for me. The problem I have is that I've been able to draw and paint for a long time, but the impulse, the motivation to do it is often quite lacking. A very common thing you hear if you do art generally, and you're reasonably good at it, is that people say, Christ, if I had your skill, I'd be doing it all the bloody time. But you wouldn't be, because it's hard to get your mind into it, so to speak. You might be able to do it, but what's the point if your mind's not willing? But what Bob has taught me is that you shouldn't worry, just bloody do the damn thing. And it's very wise words indeed. So I've tried to take that on board, and I've been popping out paintings left, right and centre. They may not be very good, some of them, but you know, I've created something at least that didn't exist before. He has lots of words of wisdom, beating the devil out of it, which he does to his brushes. I do on a daily basis. Anyway, right, let's get on with it. That was a shit intro, as usual. Anyway, right, what should we do? Let's do a little bit of news before I get to the old paintings. There's timestamps down below if you want to get right there. But first of all, there's a bit of bastard Slug news. They've been back. So if we have a look over here, we have a little blighter. Now this was 3 weeks ago now. Just a tiny little slug, no bigger than the tip of my little finger, but he was there nonetheless in the kitchen. So turfed him back outside, didn't kill him obviously, but there's been no return since then, or we haven't seen any. They could have been there. I always dread that I'll find one in my coffee cup in the morning, boiled in my coffee, but so far I haven't seen any more, so perhaps they've gone. Okay, what else? I sold another book. So I'm not going to get the Geldometer out because it takes bloody ages to animate, and I only sold one more copy, but it came out of the blue. Someone in the UK bought a physical copy. No idea who or why, because as far as I know it's buried, never to be seen again. But anyway, if you're watching this for the first time and you've made it this far, perhaps consider buying one yourself. It's a bloody lovely book. So the sequel, another bit of news. I've yet to do the cover, although I've got some design sketches to show you a bit later, and I haven't done the map either. But I'm going to set a release date, because if I don't, it's never going to bloody come out. So I want it to come out before Christmas, because I wanted it to come out in the summer, but I was too busy. So it's going to be on the 18th of December. That's what I'm thinking anyway. Perhaps. It might be earlier. I know, I mean, if you want to read it around Christmas time, then that's probably okay, but a physical copy may not get to you in time. But anyway, Christ, that's the best I can do, I'm afraid. So there we are. Let's aim for the 18th and see how we go. So hopefully, leading up to Christmas or the release date, I'll do some more videos, more than usual. Do one a week at least, and tell you how it's all going. Okay, lovely. Okay, let's get down to business and what I've been working on. So, in preparation for designing the cover, I thought I better practice my craft. I better get painting. So I've been doing lots of painting just to practice primarily, but I've had lots of problems with my wrist, which has been getting worse. I think I'm bloody hoping it's just the weather, the damp, because it's raining all the time. And it's, by the end of the day, my wrist, I just want to chop the fucking thing off. But a bit better today, although it did crunch earlier, which was very lovely. Okay, so right, the first one, I'm going to pop them up here because they're all still wet. Some of them are behind me or they're hidden, but they're wet, so I don't want to touch, I don't want to, because sometimes I drop the bloody things. I dropped one the other day and I was not best pleased. Right, so the first one, it's an abstract one. So I quite like using reds and blues when I'm doing abstract things. I don't know why. I've been doing that for years. No idea why. Oh yeah, I saw a painting once in London, an abstract one using primarily red and blue. And it's always stuck in my head. I just like that combination. Don't know why. So this one, I started off by cutting lots of random shapes out of masking tape, and then I stuck them on the canvas willy-nilly. Not really following any general rule as such, and then I painted the blue over it and then peeled it all off, and that shape, the red shape there, is what was left. So then I used that as a basis for painting around, so then I embellished it slightly and I put all those kind of details on it. I quite like working from just nothing and in a sort of random way and seeing what comes out, so that's what came out of there. Around the same time I did this other abstract one. So this again is using primarily red and greenish blue again, and so this I just drew it straight off. No idea what it was going to be. I just had a vague thing in my noggin about this form, so it became a sort of alien plant. So we've got these little buds that are popping out, and I also experimented with a kind of glass effect, a smoky glass effect on parts of it. You might be able to see there. Just again experimenting, so just a fairly superficial idea, but then using it to explore techniques. So yeah, there we are. Never been taught how to paint, by the way. My technique is one I've developed myself. When I first started, you know, when I was at school studying art, well, just at school, and then at art college afterwards, the internet didn't really exist. So couldn't really learn from the internet. So we were reliant on our teachers. But they never taught technique, which was very annoying at the time. Since then, of course, we've got YouTube, so you can learn off anyone you like. There's lots of tutorials, but I never watch them because it's too late for me, really. I've developed a way of painting. I'm going to bloody well stick to it. Anyway, that's beside the point. Let's get to the next bastard. So this one here is called Monster in the Garden. So what I'll do is I'll pop up another one here. So previously I went through a phase of painting cat paintings, just to as a kind of commercial, in a commercial sense. I wanted to sell paintings, and I thought cats sell, so I did a series of them, and this is the only one that didn't sell. And I think it's because if you notice the lady there in the kimono looks a bit odd. When I drew her, I didn't realise I've kind of made her look a bit short and it doesn't look very elegant. Well, I couldn't stand the painting, never could, but I thought someone will buy it, but they never did. So I thought, what the hell shall I do now? I don't really want to turf the, I don't want to paint over the whole thing, because I spent quite a long time doing that Japanese garden. So I thought, right, I'll stick a fucking monster in there. So that's what I did. Did a few sketches, which I'll show you here, and I went for, well, you'll see the one I went for, doobie-doo, you've already seen it. I painted that in one go. Well, I did a red underlay first, because the reds I'm using are fairly transparent, so I had to do a layer first, and then once that dried, after about a month, takes fucking ages with reds, I then painted the monster in one sitting. Then I did the shadows a bit after, just so I wasn't pissing around with it too much. Okay, so there we are, monster in the garden. Right, next one. I haven't got a name for this one, but here we are, let's pop it up. This was well, it's a lady, a young lady. Maybe in our world there's a naked lady, and there she is. Tasteful though, I hope you'll agree. You can only see but a glimpse of her breast. And she's perched up on a lofty perch in the mountains. Now in my fantasy mind I thought some evil bastard of a witch or wizard has sent her up into the mountains as some kind of punishment, or perhaps she's there on her own, just diddling around on her own. Who knows? It's one of those mysteries. So again, I was using this as a practice, really. I wanted to practice painting mountains because there's going to be mountains in my cover art. And I wanted to experiment with stone as well. So I was quite pleased with the way the stone turned out in this one, which I did with building various layers up. Yeah, and there we are. And of course the woman, the figure, I wanted to practice again flesh tones, which I always find quite tricky. But anyway, I think it's relatively successful. And I was quite pleased with the hair. I'm usually a bit crap at doing hair, but this turned out okay. So there we are. Those are the recent ones. They're going to be on eBay soon. I'll put a link down below. I haven't put them on yet because they're still wet and they're not photographing properly because you get this sheen from the wet oil. Right. But yeah, I've got 3 more paintings that I'm working on. They've kind of partially started. I've got one here. So anyway, I'll show you in order. So I've got one, you might be able to see in the background, there's a cloud there. I'll just do it here. So here we are. It's like fields, rolling fields, and a great big cloud. I just made that up on the spot. No idea what it's going to be. I might put a UFO on it, maybe. About there, maybe, a flying saucer. This one here is just a purple gradient because in the UK we have this, it's called Turkish Delight, and I was looking at this packet and I thought I really like that gradient, so I just painted it. No idea exactly what I'm going to put over the top of it, but there we are. Who gives a shit? The last one is here. I might be able to pick this one up actually. It is wet as a fish, but there we are. Here we go. And it's a baby, but this baby is in a spot of bother, I suppose you could say. Yeah, so kind of bionic baby. Lovely. Yeah, so I'll be working on that soon. Oh dear, I've already put my bloody thumb in it. Anyway, so those are the ones I've got cooking in the background. So all of this is of course practice for the cover. So I've done a few sketches so you can get a general idea of what I'm going to be after here. So the second book, a portion of it is set up in the mountains. There's this massive, humongous mountains, the Kloven mountains, and there's a temple up there, a mysterious and possibly evil temple, who knows. So I wanted to portray that on the cover, so a sinister looking temple and fucking great mountains. So here we are, here's the first little sketch, and it's pretty rough, but we've got, so there's the monastery, a little tiny bridge, and then we've got the temple itself, which is like a lighthouse. So at the very top of it there's a very bright beacon, and the monks go there to commune with their god. So that's the first one, fairly rough, but just getting a general feel of it. Number 2, we have got some bit of colour here. So what I want is, I want the beacon to be quite sinister, red colour, and it pours out of the entrance as well and will create highlights on the surrounding area. So I just wanted to do that really. The sky will probably be a sunset perhaps, because the beacon is linked to the sun, so they worship a sun god. So when the sun's up in the sky, the beacon is like a bright white, you can't look at it, but towards the end of the day it darkens down into a deep red. So there we are. I'm going to try and capture that moment before the sun sets. So there we are, there's that one. Number 3. Again, so here we are. I've put the temple a bit further into the distance, to try and I wanted to balance. So I wanted the temple, but I also wanted to show the scale of the mountains that surround it. So I've got another little detail there. Doesn't really advance it too much, and I've got one more, I believe. Here we go. So here we go. We've got similar arrangement, but I'm experimenting with the mountain kind of curling up, giving a bit more, leads the eye a bit more into the center of the image. I quite like that, but it isn't quite right. So if we look at the temple, the tower, it doesn't kind of work. I would like it to be slightly shorter and maybe further away, just so that it kind of works. So we've got the mountains covering roughly half of the composition. So then I wanted maybe the tower to occupy the second half, perhaps even a quarter, just so that it balances a bit better compositionally. That's the idea. I've also got little things there. Snow, that's quite an interesting one. Yeah, so I'm going to have to be painting snow. I've never painted snow before, so that's going to be interesting. Dark rock, sunset, question mark. Red highlights from temple, yeah. I like this sweeping rock formation. Will anyone else? Okay, so there we are. That's where we are with the cover design at the moment. Just need to refine it slightly more, and then I'm just going to get straight on, paint it. It's quite a big canvas this time, so there's going to be a bit of margin for error. Hopefully my wrist behaves. Even if it doesn't, I'm going to strap the bastard down and we're going to paint it anyway. So there we are. Right, that's episode... what episode are we on here? 57. I've done 57 of these things now. So, right, next week, hopefully I'll have an update. Hopefully the finalised drawing for the cover, definitely. And I might have finished one of these other paintings and I can show you that too. I need to get on with this map as well. But I'm not looking forward to it. So I probably won't begin that yet. Otherwise, the book is all more or less ready to go. I've got some edits to make after my brother's proofreading. But we're almost there. Exciting times. Okay, I'm going to stop there. Thank you very much for watching. Sorry that I'm rambling. Never really prepare for these things, but I just don't have the time really. But lovely to see you all, and I'll see you next week for sure. Okay. Thanks for watching, and cheerio.
Beat the devil out of it.